All right, what is going on? We are rolling, and hopefully we can do this without anybody calling or texting this time. So I'm going to show you how to use the Cronometer app for food tracking, or Cronometer, however you want to say it. But it is a super potent app that allows you to track macros and micros. Now, it is up here at the top, dead center in the middle, that little apple with the target. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that, open them up. So I'm going to show this as first, just kind of the basics, how to enter food and kind of like track your macros. And I'll skip ahead today to kind of clear out some of that. So I'm going to do this like the basics for the first couple minutes. And I'm sure like most people are just wanting to know how to use this. So just watch for the first few minutes. And then if you want to continue watching and take kind of a deeper dive, just keep watching and we'll take a deeper dive. See how that works. So, starters, obviously you're going to be tracking in a lot of food. Two different ways to do that. You can either hit that plus down here towards the center, or up here towards the top, that apple. So I'll hit that little plus first, and it's going to pull up this, and you're going to hit that add food right dead center, that apple, which will pull up this. This is where you search for foods to enter them in. And this list here that you see, like once you start entering things on a regular basis, it'll kind of like start populating that with foods that you eat fairly, like on a fairly common basis. I have noticed though, like once you stop eating certain foods, they kind of linger for a little while. So I don't know like what the algorithm is for how long they hang out. But we'll go ahead and back out. So being here, like I said, you can either hit that plus or the apple at the top left, that pulls you right to that. So I'm, I guess, a little lazy with that. I always like hitting that apple and coming right here. Going back to that plus though, if you hit that plus and you look just to the right of the apple, it says scan food. If you hit that, that opens up your back camera for a QR, or I'm sorry, not QR, a barcode scanner. I got my phone face down on a table right now, so I'm not going to bother like opening that up. But so if you tap that, that's how you do that. You can also, if you go to the food, if you look at the top right underneath my clock there, that little barcode symbol does the exact same thing. So just hitting that again opens up your back camera. And I will say this, that the barcode scanner on Cronometer is like super powerful. So like have the food ready. And I mean, it's a lot of times like some other apps I've used, like it has to be perfectly still and the lighting can't be on there. Like this sucker will grab it if it's blurry and like streaking by the camera. So it's really good. I will say that some of the foods, it seems like it's maybe like 70% of the time if you scan something, it's going to be in there. Like obviously the more obscure items might not be in there, but something that's fairly common should be in there. If it's not, then actually just searching for the item, just typing it out should still pull it up. It's rare that you actually have to completely enter in your own food item, but let's actually do that now. So we'll go a little healthy. So I'm just going to type in broccoli. So we'll go with broccoli. Now, you got a ton of different broccolis to search for. Usually the higher up results are going to be better, not always, but they're usually better. And you might see like broccoli raw, broccoli cooked from fresh. The nutrients are going to be a little bit different on there. So, you know, if you can, try to be as accurate as possible. If you're somebody and the person is just your trainer or health professional just wants you to start training or tracking, like don't stress it. So we'll hit broccoli raw. Now you'll get like a total calorie count right here in the center for the serving. You'll get obviously your protein, your net carbs, your fats right there. If you need to change the serving size, a lot of them, especially like the more common things, will have a ton of different ways to kind of like track serving sizes. If you're not sure, if you don't have time to measure, I mean, you know, rough estimates, like a handful of vegetables is going to be like a cup. I mean, you know, a palm-sized amount of meat is going to be like 3 to 4 ounces, depending on the size of your hand, maybe 5 ounces or 6 ounces if you're a giant, who knows. But so like we'll just say a cup of chopped, and then if you need to enter, say I had 2 cups, you would just obviously hit right there and you would punch in, you know, 2 cups, or let's say you had 34 cups because you just really want to blow everybody out of the room. So the other thing I want to show you is right next to broccoli raw, you see that little gold star. When you first search for something, it'll actually be blank like that, but hitting it and making it a gold star, I'm going to close out of here, will then every food that you put the gold star in puts it in your favorite section. So then instead of having to, like if there's some more obscure item you find, or if it's something that you had to scan the barcode for once, like once you scan the barcode and have this pulled up, then all you got to do is just hit that, and it will be in your favorites. So then all you would have to do, instead of scanning it every time, is just search the name and then click on that favorites tab, and it will pull up. I have noticed some things, like if I type in I don't know, like if you type in something incorrectly and you have trouble like searching, like I don't know, if you're looking for chicken and you accidentally type in coldness, so I'm like, no, I want chicken. I don't know if this will work with me or not. But then sometimes, like when you go back and try to search for the food, all right, so it's working now, but sometimes you'll have trouble, like the results, if you try to enter something once and then delete it and then try to enter it a second time, it's like the results get kind of screwy. So they may have fixed that now, I don't know, but it's always been kind of like that. So worst case is you would just back out. It's gonna keep me back to today. Just back out and then go back in, like right back in, and it should work fine. I want to show you, so let's say we're doing chicken, because it's like all I've had today is fucking chicken. So we're gonna go, let's just say 4 ounces of chicken, add serving, and then I'm like, wait a minute, no, I didn't have chicken. That's right, that was just a nightmare. I actually had beef. So if you need to delete it, you would just slide it to the left like that, and then like it'll kind of stay there, and you want to hit that trash can. So it's not like sliding it over doesn't delete it. You actually have to slide it over and then hit the trash, and then that will delete it itself. So but I think those are the main things I want to show you. I have I track all of my supplements. You also see on here too, as I'm thinking about it, that you can link this in with your, like my phone has a built-in pedometer, or if you have a Fitbit or, you know, Garmin or something like that, and you want to track your steps. I think you can track heart rate. I'm not 100% sure on that. You can hook it up to your smart scale, and when you weigh in, it'll automatically like put that in here. But so I track all of my supplements. So that's just why you see like a ton of supplements here. That's kind of like individually throughout the day. But when you start tracking food, you can then see obviously where your macros are. So there's a couple different ways to do that. You can kind of take this whole like top part and slide it to the left, maybe slide it to the left, and then you'll see calories, protein, net carbs, and fats. And just to address this, like, yes, I've only had 5.1 grams of carbs. Like, I'm on a 0 carb diet right now. Feel great doing it, but I didn't want people thinking like, what the hell? So, but you can, once you slide to that left, calorie breakdown, if you tap that circle to the right there, it'll show you, that's your percentages, 100% of the calories you've had right there, that's the percentages of your calories. So if you notice that 48.8% protein on this stack right here, and then over on the bars to the left, it says 67%. That 67% is showing me that, you know, if I'm trying to get 279 grams of protein, which I'm not, that's just what it's calculated because I'm at that 40% split right now. I haven't changed that. That 67% is the percentage of my protein for the day, and that 4% is my percentage of the carbs for the day. 70% is my percentage of fats for the day. So if somebody's telling you like to go on a 40-40-20 split or 35-35-35, you actually want to hit this circle and use these numbers here for that. So if you're going 40-40-20, you would be looking for 40-40-20 here, or 35-35, you know, 30, whatever it might be through here. So but a couple different ways to then go in and look on a deeper dive as far as nutrients. You can either just tap the bars there, the calories, protein, all that. You can tap that. It will take you to this like calorie summary and nutrient target summary page. Or you can, if I go back at this page, that targets dead center where you see at 76% right now, you can tap that and use this to do the exact same thing. And then again, same thing. If you hit that calorie breakdown circle just right over here, it pulls up your percentages. One thing I really love about this is if you're not sure, like if I'm like, man, I'm trying to get 0 carbs, how do I have 5.1 grams? You can tap on carbs and it will pull up and show you your net carbs right there and what the top contributors are. So ironically enough, my protein supplements have the highest amount of carbs. What's that about? So, but then you can do the same thing. So like with fats, if I want to see, okay, so 24% of my fats, excuse me, came from the lemon garlic dressing that I have, 18% from the, avocado lime mayo. So gives you an idea on that. These nutrient targets can all be adjusted and shifted either by you or by your health professional or nutrition coach, whoever you're working with. These are things that I'm specifically looking for throughout the day. So general, if you open that plus sign, this will basically show you calories, caffeine, water, and I think default has ash on there as well. I'm not worried about ash. I don't think I eat a lot of ash, so I took that off of there. Vitamins, this is where you get like your vitamins and your minerals, and then it breaks down like carbohydrates into specific carbohydrates, and your fats, your lipids into specific lipids, and then proteins into the specific amino acids. If you notice, like some of these are yellow, some of them are green, some of them are red. Yellow is basically when you haven't gotten quite 100%. Green is if you have gotten 100%. Let me hit that. If you have gotten 100%, it'll also, so if you see like B12, I've gotten like a ton of B12, right? Like almost 56.4 thousand, I guess not that point, but like 56,000%. The reason it's still green is because to date, like there's not been a like upper limit of that. So like it's basically like, yeah, you're okay, just go over. Some of these other ones like folate, I'm purposely trying to get higher, and I haven't like adjusted it high enough, so it's going to give me that red sign basically showing that I've gotten too much. Another one that's really common is down here in the fats, that trans fats. I've gotten 0.3 grams of trans fats, I think, from my chicken. Yeah, from my chicken. So that's kind of like incidental fat. But the idea is that you don't want any trans fat whatsoever. So, getting a small incidental amount like that, it's still going to show up as red. So that's where the color codes come from. If you know specifically, like a good example is vitamin D. I think the RDA for vitamin D is like 1,000 IU. I personally think that that's way too low, so I actually set mine at 10,000 instead of 1,000. And all you would have to do is hit the check mark right there. It starts out like unchecked. You would have to check it and then enter in the specific. Oh, I lied. I have it at 4,000. That should be 10,000. I'm slipping. So that would basically be that. I think that's just because I checked it. So, and then you would obviously save. I want to see if that changed it or not. I'm curious. Yeah, now it's red. So I need to, sorry. I'm one of those people, if I don't do it now, it's going to bother me. I'm going to forget about it later. Bam. All right. So I put that 10,000. This might be a good example for somebody that's curious. So my minimum is 10,000 because that's what I'm trying to get every day. Maximum, again, like 16,000. I'm not trying to go like crazy high on it. So that would mean now, yes, I want to save my changes. So if I come down here to vitamin D, it's going to be green. Even though I'm over that 10,000, dang it, stop hitting the button. Even though I'm over that 10,000, I haven't gotten that 16,000. So it hasn't turned red. It hasn't said, hey, you're way too high yet. But this is where, again, it's probably more than most people are going to be concerned with. Most people are going to be concerned just with tracking their foods and finding their macronutrients. But I would advise people to start learning about micronutrients, or at least work with somebody that does. So you can also create foods. So we'll go through this kind of bottom row here. So right next to diary, which is where we are, we'll go foods just to the right of that. This is where, if you have a gold subscription, you can ask the Oracle right there. If you have a gold subscription, or again, if you're working as a client with somebody else, like if I put somebody on mine, you get the gold version for free. So we'll do like a new search, and let's say we want to look up potassium. Let's say we know that we're deficient in potassium, so we're going to find food sources in potassium. You can, do it in amount in gram, amount in calorie. You can, however many search results you want. If you want to just search all categories, you can, but so let's say I want to find potassium, but I don't like cereal, grains, and pastas. So I would turn that off and slide that over. Then you're going to hit this up at the top right, search. I'm going to hit that. and it will give me, like I had it at 25, so it's going to give me, and some of these things can get kind of crazy, but so it'll give you like the top 25 search results. And yeah, I was not aware that Burger King coffee and Arby's coffee had good amounts of potassium, or a Pepsi Zero sugar. So that's just an idea of if you're trying to find, something that you're deficient in, this will generally be a good place to kind of get on here and look. So if you're deficient in ash, that's where you would find it. So the create custom foods is great if you try to scan a barcode and something doesn't show up, and you try to search for it and something doesn't show up. You would create a new food, and that's here. So you would type in the name of the food. Let's go. Oh God, how about Bob's, not boobs? Bob's Burgers. We'll just start with that. And then category, like you can categorize it if you want, doesn't matter. Comments, you can add those if you want, again, doesn't matter. Serving name, it does matter. So if it's like a tablespoon or something, or a cup of something, so we'll just do 1 cup of Bob's Burgers. Weight doesn't, you don't have to worry about the weight right there. You can if you want, but so the calories, you definitely want to punch that in. And go through here, and again, as detailed or undetailed as you want, just go through and type in, the certain amounts of each different mineral or carbohydrate. Again, if you want to keep it super simple, scroll past the vitamins and minerals, go to just carbohydrates, punch that number in right there. You got that. Go down to fats, type that total number in if you're not even worried about breaking those down, and then just to proteins. Once you're done, you would hit save up in that top right corner and save it. And as you go through and save things, if you notice, most of my stuff most of it's like supplements, CDP choline, CLA, glutamine, phenylalanine. That's just because I'm trying to get like super specific, and the things that were showing up in the search results weren't as specific as I wanted them. So I want it like down to like the 100 milligram, because I'm like weighing everything out. Other things like the lemon garlic dressing that you see there, or what's another one? The Primal Kitchen, this PK Chipotle mayo, Chipotle lime mayo, it's avocado mayo. I entered those in because the government only requires a company to put their total fats and saturated fats of the product. It doesn't require them to list like monounsaturated or polyunsaturated. But again, I'm trying to be as precise as possible, so I had to go through and do some research and some digging and figure out the right percentages and get them as close as I could. So I went through and like just entered in custom foods for those. Going down, custom recipes. This is where, like, if you're the two that I have, evening supplements and morning supplements, those are like every morning I take these 3 things no matter what. So I put those in as morning supplements instead of every day having to go in and find the B vitamin and having to find the kelp and having to find the copper. Like, I just put those in as a recipe, so it just automatically goes boom, 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 and enters them all in. If you're doing, grandma's homemade chicken chili recipe that, you love, and you're making that all the time, you can create that recipe and then like create it as a whole recipe. And then if you have a third of it or a cup of it, I mean, whatever it might be, if it's a pizza and you have half the pizza, type in half the recipe. If it's a cup of chili and how many cups are in it, just, you got to sometimes do a little bit of math, but again, it's however detailed you want to get. So that's custom foods, custom recipes. Trends, continuing over. This shows you kind of like the last 7 days. You can adjust that too by hitting that little settings button there. You can like go longer, shorter, different times, whatever. So this shows you just your calories at a glance. July 22nd, I topped out. That was a glorious day. Had 2,300 calories in fat alone. But so this just is a way to kind of like get a rough estimate for your last 7 days as far as calories. Nutrition reports. Same thing. You can like adjust the time if you want it just the last 7 days, or if you want it, shorter, longer, whatever it might be. And this, I believe, will give you like rough estimates. Rough averages on everything all the way down through here. So it kind of shows you on average where you are for everything. And then profile, we'll click over here. This is where you would enter all the vitals, if you're what gender, your age, your height, your weight, body mass index, so your activity level, which I should probably change mine. I got it moderately active right now, and I'm working out like a stupid person. So that's where you would change all that. And obviously, like, changing your activity level is going to give you a higher caloric ceiling. So that's actually where your activity level and then your vitals is going to be where this calorie burn number right there, that's where that gets calculated at, which is actually, if you tap on that fire, that this is where you would enter in your exercises too. If you are tracking for whatever reason, if you're tracking your exercises and you want to know how much of a window you have, that's where you would do it. Or you can hit that plus and then add activity in that bottom right hand corner right there, pulls you up to the same thing. So going back to the profile, this is also where you enter, you can edit the macronutrient targets. And this 40, 20, 40, that's on percentages. So it's not like 40 grams, 20 grams, 40 grams. That's 40%, 20%, 40%. That technically, I guess, is just a paleo diet anyways, but I put it on custom because I'm kind of always changing these. And like I said, right now I'm trying to get like 0 carbs. I just haven't bothered changing this because I know what I'm doing, so I'm not worried about it. But this is where you can also use net carbs if you want it to like subtract fibers and sugar alcohols from your carbohydrates. I want it to subtract fiber. I do not want it to subtract sugar alcohols because those still impact you. And technically even fiber should be in there, but I took that out. So we'll go here. Nutrient targets. This is where you can like specifically add ranges. So like it says dynamic under calories right there because it's kind of all over the place. I'm always shifting, but if you want to say I want exactly this many calories, that's where you would punch that in. Same thing with caffeine, alcohol, and there's ash again. Vitamins, minerals, carbohydrates, lipids, proteins. You can do the same thing with all of this stuff. So I'm not worried about tracking alpha carotene, and some of these, not that one, I think it's chromium, I know that one for sure, but like some of these it'll tell you like the database has very sparse information on it right now, so there's not much point in tracking that. But a lot of these, like the thiamine, I think RDA is like 50 milligrams, and I'm trying to get a higher amount than that for just like a bunch of, like detoxification, neurotransmitters, stuff that's above the scope of this. But so a lot of these are going to be turned on, but some of them might be turned off. So really all you got to do is like slide that little thing over, to turn it on, slide back over. So I'm trying to find one that shows that little message about sparse data, but apparently all of these have great data. I know chromium does, so I'll go to that here in a second. But this is just where you would go through and enter all of those if you don't want to do it. Again, there's a million ways to do it, right? So you can go to the targets page where I showed you earlier. Let's do chromium just because I've been talking about it. I want to show it. So you slide that over right there. Warning, our food database currently contains very sparse data for chromium. So it's not going to mess anything up, but just I had that turned on for a while because I still wanted to see, and like I never had anything show up in chromium. Like everything was always 0. So I just, all right, forget it. Took it off. But this is again like where if you want to set specific values, this would be where you would do it. So, and again, you could do it for all the different types of carbohydrates and lipids and aminos. Some of these, like I said, by default do not show up, so you have to go through here and turn these on. I've had this turned on for so long I can't remember what does and what doesn't show automatically. But this would be where you turn things on or set specific limits for yourself on that. And then two more. So sharing is if you're working with a professional, like that's the professional button is where you should automatically have the profile created for you. But I think if you have a profile and you need to link to them, you can do that. The studies is kind of cool too. You can sign up for like Mercola's studies or the grassroots health studies, and just basically like you're allowing them to see your data. And I think they might even like kind of reach out to you and contact you. Friends is basically, what it sounds like. I don't think this has quite the social impact or social features that like my MyFitnessPal does, but it still will allow you to friend people. Connect devices. This is where you again can connect, your Fitbit or your scale. It's like I have this. Oops, did not mean to do that. I have that Nokia scale. So this is where you link everything. on that page, and then if you need to disconnect anything, you can do it. So guys, I think that is about everything. Obviously my email's right there. If you have any questions, feel free to good lord, I'm screwing all kinds of things up. Feel free to email me with any questions that you might have. But I think that is as fully a featured breakdown on the Cronometer app as I can get. Like I said, if you need to delete things, slide them to the left. If you want to adjust the settings, you can slide to the right, copy it, show the nutrition data, delete it from there. There's usually 2 to 3 ways to do just about everything in here. So let me know if you have questions. andyfrisch123@gmail.com, freshevolutionfitness.com. That is the name of the game, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it helps, and thanks for watching. Later.